Well, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here and let's wake up the football gods. Good morning, everybody. And this is that day that you always remember exactly where you were when it happened. I remember September 11th, I was in my basement office with my good buddy, rest his soul, Jim Bloom, and hearing about a plane hitting the Trade Center and turning on the news and watching the news and seeing the second plane hit. Hearing about a plane hitting the Pentagon. I remember hearing jets flying. I remember not knowing what was going on in the world, the schools being closed and having to go get Michael and Michaela. I remember seeing a couple of days later the Pentagon on fire. It was an awful day. It was an awful several days. So many people want to sugarcoat and forget history. But here's the thing about history. If you don't know where you're coming from, you don't know where you're going. And as they say, those who don't learn from the past are destined to repeat it in the future. Our history is our history. All of it, the good, the bad, everything. And we have to remember. The thing about history is everything that happened during your lifetime makes you the person you are now. That's the truth. You're born, you know nothing. Everything is your history that makes you who you are. So we can't forget that fateful day on September 11th. We certainly should want to remember how we all came together as Americans. And I wish and pray that we don't have to have something catastrophic like that for us to come together as a country again. Remember this day. Whew. Last night was incredible. Going into this game, I said, like in Remember the Titans, when the man said, leave no doubt. Leave no doubt. Make sure they know we are them boys. That's not what he said. He said, remember, Titans. I wanted the Cowboys to go in there and demoralize, to beat down, to destroy the New York Giants, because I've been sick and tired of hearing the Cowboys, they ain't good. Diggs, he gives up too many yards. Dak Prescott, he's a turnover machine. He throws too many interceptions. He's a choker. He's a dink and dunker, Mr. Garbage Time. Mike McCarthy is an idiot. Kellen Moore is better. They're nothing without Kellen Moore. Jerry Jones, he needs to hire a real GM. Micah Parsons, he ain't like Lawrence Taylor. And all these talking heads that every freaking day it's Dak Prescott. Why he's doesn't deserve to be paid. Why he does not deserve to be an NFL quarterback. Why he should be replaced. And I had hoped and prayed that this group of guys, this Dallas Cowboy team, begins a new history. And they come in there and they punch you in the face. See, it's now, what's kind of cool about this is, much in the same way, people think that the quarterback is the be-all, end-all, that it doesn't matter what you have around the quarterback, because they'll ultimately win, which is a fallacy. They keep saying, well, Pat Mahomes. Travis Kelce's not there. He needs to get wide receivers a running game. He needs help. They realize it for Pat Mahomes. For Dak Prescott, oh, well, Dak just sucks. Noah Brown. 2 catches, I think, or 3 catches for 20 yards with the Texans. Way down the list. He was one of our lead guys last year. But that's okay. It's Dak Prescott. He, of course, is supposed to overcome. It's a different set of rules. But much in the same way as you need to have weapons for the quarterback, you can't just have one great guy on the defense. You need surrounding people around him. And because Micah Parsons is that dude, there was one of those sacks last night where Micah Parsons, little old Micah Parsons, is taking a double team and splitting it. But Osa Ndigazua comes through and cleans them up. It was so bad that you could look at Danny Jones was doing his best late career Eli Manning impersonation and looking for the ground. When he came up and he had all of the tire flakes on his face, it was just like, yeah, it's going to be one of those nights. The thing is, for Micah Parsons right now, you can see the wave of people. When you see Golston is a guy we forget about. Damn, he was a third-round draft pick when Micah. He was the extra draft pick that we got from the Eagles trading back. Did y'all remember Golston? With 2 sacks last night. D-Law got a sack. Osa Ndigazua, Micah Parsons. I mean, it was just like everybody. Dante Fowler. Everybody in there. And it harkens me back to something I have played in nauseum with Dan Quinn. You remember when we hired Dan Quinn, people said he's a loser. You're hiring him to be the defensive coordinator when they had the biggest meltdown in Atlanta, in Super Bowl history, when he was there with the Atlanta Falcons. You're hiring that guy for your defensive coordinator? Oh, forget about what he did with Legion of Boom. But when you're the head coach, it's different than being the defensive coordinator. You are overseeing everything in every aspect as opposed to being the guy that works directly there making the sausage. And you got to like the sausage that Dan Quinn is making. This defense, much like the Legion of Boom, which the Cowboys could be as good, maybe even better. The thing that was great about the Legion of Boom was they didn't have just one guy to stop. They were good everywhere, and especially on the defensive front. Cliff Averill led them in sacks at 8.5. Their Super Bowl year. You had Michael Bennett and things like that. You had good guys, people that were getting like 5 and 6 sacks. But they could throw wave after wave at you and wear your ass down. And the key component, because this is Dan Quinn after the Super Bowl victory with the Seattle Seahawks. He will say in this thing, we were fast and we were physical. I challenge you to say that they aren't fast and they aren't physical. Listen in.
Whatever conditions come up tonight, we really, one of the main things we want to do is let's play at our style. And we did that tonight. That was one of the things going in all year long. We're fast, we're physical, and we have a real style about how we play. I thought that came out tonight.
Coach,
I certainly hope so. Couldn't be more proud to be part of that unit that plays, with an aggressive style. We talked about out-hitting people in terms of how we want to affect the quarterback and even checking the ball down, the way we want to tackle. We want to win with fundamentals, and our guys work really hard in that fashion. It's something that our coaching staff and the players, we talk tackling, we talk turnovers really every day that we practice, and that's what came tonight.
What did you tell you?
Well, we certainly have so much respect for their offense the way they did. So I was not surprised that we played well. We've had terrific weeks of practice and preparation. So going into it, we were healthy and really felt like we were going to play fast and physical. We prepared for no huddle for 2 weeks. And if you give those group of guys 2 weeks to prepare, the coaches and those players, I think you're going to like the results.
What did you tell your players after the game, coach?
Really just how proud I was to be part of the unit. thing that I was most impressed about is that we really played in a style and fashion that we're accustomed to. We're fast, we're physical, and we played this game on our terms, and that was one of the things we went into the game saying. And for us to go and play it in that way, you know, and have it come true in that way, it was awesome.
Where do the Seahawks rank in the all-time greatest defenses?
I'll let you guys decide that. I, couldn't be more fired up to be part of our unit and the attitude and the way that we play. So I'll leave that to you guys. Coach Carroll has been he's been huge for my career. Feature the players, and let's find what a player can do well, and let's accent that. And that would be one of the many things that he's taught me.
What did that first front? Did you anticipate it would be that one-sided, like the most dominating their offense?
I don't know about that, but I certainly know our guys know how to rush, and that was one of the things we knew. When you face a quarterback like him, you better be able to affect him. We didn't talk about sacks or hits. We talked about, can we get him off the spot? And we knew in certain coverages there was going to be times when he got the ball out and under 2.2, 2.3, which is hard for a rusher. We know sometimes it can be, if it's at 2.6 or 2.7, that's when you can get the hit. So we knew they'd have to deal with us, in terms of, I was fired up for Quinn and what he was able to do, and Cliff and Michael have been doing that for a while. So it was just another example of how, we have a really deep front, and some games you have to play real hard ball. It's going to be a running team, and then there's games like tonight where it's going to be more featured pass rush.
What did that Peyton Manning several times audibled into a run. Like Bobby Wagner was nodding. He came back and made a signal. Did you guys know any of the calls and the signals?
We did not. In fact, some of our calls, we just wanted to have some fun, and we made up some calls just so we'd be able to do some too.
We made up some calls just so we could have some fun too. Here's what's cool. Evan Neal became the Cowboys' little biatch. He literally was like, ole, 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 ole. Just literally like a turnstile. They used and abused Evan Neal. It was just, no mercy on that team. They literally destroyed 171 yards. Micah Parsons, when asked if this was a statement by the Dallas Cowboys defense, I think we're making a statement that we've been trying to make. We're the best defense in the National Football League. And if you don't believe what Micah Parsons has to say, he gonna show you he is that dude. He is freaking incredible. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He is an absolute positive beast. And with this defense, this was the biggest shutout in the history of the Cowboys over the New York Giants. And as you start thinking about how we dominated all aspects of the game, we had a blocked field goal, which went for a touchdown. They ended up having, the defense, 2 touchdowns. They had 2 interceptions. They had a forced fumble and 7 sacks. I don't know how much more defense could do. Now, before I get ahead of myself, this is just one game. It's just one game. There's 16 more to go. We'll see where the dust clears by the time all this goes down. What's nice to see this morning is, if you look at the statistics, you've got sack leaders right now. TJ Watt's got 3 yesterday. I'd have to say a lot of that might have been in garbage time because they were always behind, but be that as it may. Josh Allen got 3. Drake Johnson for San Francisco got 3. Dorrance Armstrong is next on the list with Osa Indigazua. Yeah, at the moment, the Cowboys have 2 people in the top 5 in sacks, and neither of them are named Micah Parsons. That speaks volumes. That speaks volumes. I'm curious. I have not listened to it yet. I want to hear what Get Up has to say this morning about the Dallas Cowboys and see if they trash Dak.
you do is go out there and play the game, you know? So if y'all feel like the statement was made, go ahead and put that mug on, you know, the front page, big letters, you know, bold letters.
I think we're making a statement, which I've been trying to make. We're the best defense in the National Football League.
The Cowboys put up last night their largest shutout win in franchise history. They brought pressure 55% of the time. They finished with 7 sacks and 3 turnovers. First time a Cowboys defense has put those numbers up since 1992. By the way, they won the Super Bowl that year. Rex Ryan, is that the best defense in the National Football League?
Well, it's impossible to say it isn't after that performance. I think tonight we're going to see another great defense, but this defense right here is amazing. And it's not just the talent, it's the scheme. It's the passion. It's the energy. All of that type of stuff. Dan Quinn, since he's taken over as defense coordinator, they average 2 takeaways a game. They have 70 turnovers or takeaways in 35 games. Like, they're better now than they've ever been.
They're everything, and the thing that jumps off the page, RC, even amongst those of us who didn't play or coach, they're so fast. The speed of that defense is ridiculous.
On Friday, Dan and I had this conversation about how this team was perfectly set up to defend the New York Giants just because they're so multiple in what they do with their safeties and their sub packages. Now, I'm going to ask you this. Do you know who Marquise Bell is?
I do not know.
Me neither.
Yep.
Do you know who Wanye Thomas is?
I know him from calling college football.
I don't. I don't. You know the only Wanye I know? From Boys to Men, and they from Philly. That's the sort of players that were making plays last night for the Dallas Cowboys. They are so deep. They are so fast. They are so skilled. And Dan Quinn uses all of these guys to the best of their abilities. They don't put people in bad positions. And when you feel like you can play free and you can play fast, you get to the ball, you hunt, and you're aggressive. And the New York Giants had nothing for them last night.
RC, the Giants ran 65 offensive plays last night. 30 of them went for no or negative yards. Almost half of your snaps don't result in a single positive yard. And for me, the play that kind of set the tone for the game was when Daniel Jones scrambled early on and Jaron Kearse came and laid him out. And there was the penalty flag. It felt, as you watch the game go on, and I think this is the play right here. Watch the ending of this play. I understand that some people don't like this play or whatnot, and it's a penalty. We're protecting quarterbacks. It felt like the message was sent not only to the Giants, but the whole to the NFL. Like, this team is humming and hunting everyone.
I saw Stephon Gilmore. All right, we saw his impact, gets the interception or whatever. But his presence on the field allows Dan Quinn to do everything else, to send pressure more, to do everything. That's what was missing from this defense. All right, Bill Walsh said it to me. He goes, you got to have 11 good players on defense. I don't think they had that last year. They got it.
They don't have the
They got it this year.
No weakness on that defense.
The other piece is this. I talked to Trayvon Diggs in training camp, and he says, I love having Stephon Gilmore here. He's teaching me so many things about anticipation, playing the intermediate routes, understanding what you're getting from a tips and tendency standpoint. And this is a guy who was the ultimate ball guy at one of the corners last year. Now you don't have an Anthony Brown on the other side. Right. You have a possible future Hall of Famer. And so you're going to have to try to find a way to attack this defense. But what I loved about them last night is they made you adjust to them. And that's what the best defenses do.
Unless you think this wasn't first guessed by my main man, Rex Ryan. I was watching a Sunday countdown yesterday. Who did you pick to win the NFC Championship this year?
Dallas.
And so last night they justified that.
And that's it. And I'm going to say this. I am not a Dallas fan, as we know, obviously, with my dad's roots and all that. But I see one team I predicted going this way and the other one going this way. Stephon Gilmore, I mean, I'm telling you, as soon as they signed him and Brandon Cooks, I'm like, that's what they need.
It's not going to be all that different last year. I remember sitting on this table last year and said the most trusted play in football is third down against the Dallas Cowboys defense. The Giants last night almost played into the hands of the Cowboys. Like, they were so aggressive on first down. And if you're unsuccessful, you're leading yourselves in the second and third and long. You're playing right into the strength of Dallas, where Micah Parsons can move around like that. So if you're not really smart with the way you attack their defense, then you're going to be swimming uphill.
So, Dan, my question about the New York Giants offensively, how much of that is let's show everyone how much Daniel Jones has progressed?
Yeah, Green. RC, last night I'm watching the game, and I remember last year talking about the Giants offense, and they prioritized protection. Daniel Jones was under duress last night.
Evan Neal sucks.
It's weird that they're not doing the same stuff that they did last year. Last year when they played against Dallas, they played with a ton of tempo. They moved the quarterback
and they still
around
lost.
a ton. It did not feel. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Dallas' defense. They were absolutely suffocating. I just don't think that the Giants played even remotely close or necessary to how they have to against Dallas.
No, I totally agree with that. And the other thing is, I saw one team that had the proper adjustment for an opponent and one that didn't. And so right there, look, the Giants, I think, hey, we got more speed on the roster, so we're going to show. Oh, no. Not against that other team you didn't. And here's what I saw from Dallas that is scary to me. All right, if I'm Philadelphia, I'm scared of this. All right, the quarterback run, Daniel Jones did a great job of the quarterback run, even against Dallas last year. How did it look this year?
It ain't nowhere to go, though.
No, nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go.
And that's 11-on-11 football right there. Like, that to me showed me that all offseason, Dan Quinn sat back and said, who do we have to beat? Do we have to beat the Giants? No, we got to beat Philly. What do they do? Quarterback runs. That's what they were prepared for last night. And so to me, I'm like, Daniel Jones, he's running all over the place, getting smoked.
Here's the truth. We're going to come here every Monday. We're going to talk about the Cowboys, and we're going to be able to rave about their defense. The two games that I want to see this team play against Philadelphia's offensive line because they didn't play well yesterday, Philadelphia's offensive line, but I still have the respect for them. I want to see this defensive line versus the Detroit Lions and their offensive line. That's the one unit in the NFC that I think can match up and play against this defensive line that's fast, it's physical, it's dominant, and it's versatile.
Well, that's the other piece of it is, too, it's going to go to physicality now when you play the Dallas Cowboys defensively.
Right?
Because what they've decided to do is we're going to be more talented and faster than whoever we play. There were some times where there were 6 DBs on the field, and it wasn't like, let's throw 4 safeties out there. You had people that could run, but also they were very physical at the point of attack.
Let me ask you guys this question. Just watching last night, and I know it's a very simple term of Micah Parsons commands so much attention, and he's good enough to beat double teams that he frees up other players to have dominant moments. Who was the last defensive guy that we saw in the NFL that commanded so much attention and yet still was so dominant? I don't know who it was.
I think the piece that makes Micah different is his usage. Right? He's the guy that used to play middle backer, so you're using him at backer, at end. You even slide him inside to have him matched up on guards. And it's such a mismatch. That's where Dan Quinn has taken the next step as a defensive coordinator.
That's what I love what Dan Quinn did. He moved him everywhere. You know, it's easy to say he's got left in, we're going to chip him, we're going to do. No. Now he's over your guard. Now he's over your center. He's all over the place. Great job by Dan Quinn.
He can legitimately win MVP.
I never like comparing players to the name I'm about to say. But when you watch him play, especially the way he closes, he reminds you of Lawrence Taylor. I mean, you watch him and you're like, this is Lawrence Taylor reincarnated.
Greeny, he said to us in training camp, he said, at Hall of Famer. I want to be considered the best to ever play the game. That's that sort of Lawrence Taylor mindset as well.
So the two biggest statements made so far in the NFC, the Lions winning on the road, Kansas.
Lawrence Taylor-esque. Seems like Bad Dog is eating a lot of crap today. Well, I must say, I'm proud of them boys. But that is only one game. And that game only counts the same as each one of the other 16. It's great. Chimo, he got thrusted into playing, got a little nicked up, but got back in there. For the most part, I'm sure they're battered and bruised a little bit, but the Cowboys came out unscathed, and they'll be ready to take on the New York Giants next week. And that's all you can ask for. You get a victory, you look good doing it, and you get out healthy to fight another day. Man, we'll see how we are come October, but this is a great way to start out the season. I'm Mark Holmes, and we're going to have a lot today, a lot of stuff going on. Peace.
Mark Holmes.